Since you were already in the retirement system when you became a councilman, it should have been automatic.
That's right.
Are we good to go?
I'd like to call the meeting to order with the pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, we have no presentations. All correspondence is on file with the town clerk's office. We have no oral reports that I know of, and the county legislator didn't send a report in. So I guess at this point, let's open the meeting to the public for agenda items only. Do I hear a motion?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. The meeting is now open.
All right, let me, this is for agenda items only, correct?
Correct.
All right, so let me read we got 3 questions submitted in advance. Let me get to them. Hold on one second. Okay. Let's go to questions. All right, let's go to the first one. 1 out of 4. Hold on. Individual, there we go. Michael, let's see. This is not an agenda item, so we'll get back to this at that portion of the meeting. The second question, once again, not an agenda item from Tess, but we will get to that to the later portion of the meeting. Deb Langanow. So her question, since the pond's on there, okay. Deb's question is, she's concerned over the environmental impact of draining of the wetlands around Traver Pond and the draining of Traver Pond through the use of the beaver deceiver. Can we explain who paid for the work that was done? And I believe that the Traver Pond is private property. Was the historic dam utilized? And will the process be maintained through the historic dam? What proof of documentation was submitted for action to be taken and approved? Photos, question mark. Step-by-step exclamation of the process. Who requested, who signed off on each step of process? Was each step followed to code? Was the work done during the COVID shutdown, and was this work essential? Just clearly speaking, yes, it was done during COVID, and I do believe that highway departments were always essential. So that answers that portion.
Do you want me to read my statement?
It might be a good time, I think. Yeah, it might be
This
a good
is what I was going to read on item number 2. It's about the Traver Pond, and the town of Pleasant Valley does not own the Traver Pond located on Freedom Road. The pond is owned by the residents of Ryan's Run. The town of Pleasant Valley does not have any say in what was done to the pond. The county DPW Commissioner Robert Balkine, phone number 845-486-2085, and the New York State DEC wildlife biologist Kevin Clark, phone number 845-256-3088, had determined that in order to protect public property with regard to Freedom Road, a beaver deceiver pipe would be installed to control the water level. The deceiver pipe was installed and should maintain the proper water level going forward. And again, the town of Pleasant Valley we were apprised of what they were doing, but we had nothing to do. As far as the permits, that was all gotten through the DPW with the DEC approval. So if you have any questions, like I said, those 2 numbers that I've given you are where you should address your concerns.
And the next 2 questions that were submitted, sorry, they were, one was there was no question involved, there was no question, but I'm assuming that Phil wanted us to, I guess, reach out to him. And the second one was not an agenda item from Greg Straley. We'll get to that later in the meeting as well.
Okay, no further questions. Do I hear a motion to close the meeting?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 1, the speed bumps and gate on Bauer Road, or Bauer Park, I mean. First of all, we have a petition that was submitted by the residents of Ravine Road requesting that a speed bumps be put on. And We've asked our highway superintendent to address that, and he has given us an estimate on what it would cost to put like, I'm going to call them portable speed bumps, which I guess they're made out of a sort of a rubber material. They're 6 foot long, and we need, according to the highway superintendent, we need 8 of them to do 4 speed-determined sections. The cost on these with shipping would be approximately $1,815. That includes the signage for the warding of the speed deterrents. Anybody else have anything to put in?
No,
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 I don't.
no.
I only have one question. I mean, a couple of guys go up there, they want to take them out or do some damage. How hard are they to remove? I mean,
The spike, so from what I know and what I've seen, the spike to put them in the ground is like super long.
Right.
So like you really have to try and want to take these out of the ground to remove them. You know, and I don't think it would be easy, let's put it that way.
Okay, so now the speed bumps are sort of discussed. What do we do about the gate? That's the next thing.
So I know that, so I think the next thing, I know that, I know the town sent out an RFP last year, or maybe even at this point, 2 years ago. I think we pull those numbers just to get a cost factor and figure out how to make it, how to turn that cost factor into a reality. I think that's the, so what I could do is tomorrow, I could either look through old minutes or have Mary Beth pull the old RFPs, just to really give us, you know, if nothing else, just an idea of what it's gonna cost, like a rough number. I'm sure that they're not valid anymore. I'm sure we'll have to send out a new one, but at least we just have a rough number so we know where what we're talking about.
Well, I think we should also elaborate to the residents that the gate we're talking about is a solar gate that will automatically open at sunup, close at sundown, but if somebody is trying to get out of the park after the gate closes, it will still open to allow them to get out. And I'm thinking it's probably a better alternative than to pay an employee or law enforcement morning and evening, 7 days a week to open and close that gate.
yeah.
Okay, so what we're going to do then is we're going to research how much it's going to cost, and we'll discuss it and possibly purchase it at the next meeting if we get everything together. As far as the speed bumps, I'm not sure if we should authorize the expenditure at this time.
Well, no, to be honest with you, I don't even know if we know what budget line it's gonna come out of. I think
In other
that,
words, I got the email from John Baxter at 9:55 this morning.
right,
So it's just, you know, hot off the press, so to speak. So I think we know what the cost is. Now we just got to figure out
how we're paying for
how
it,
we're going to pay for it.
yeah,
So that's what this was, it was just a discussion
right.
on the gate and the speed bump. So now that we discussed it, we'll do some more research and hopefully have some resolution on it for next meeting in August.
Yep.
Okay? All right, that takes care of that one. Number 2, I've already read this statement, so there's no sense being redundant. Number 3 is the town hall restricted use to January 2021. This was at the request of the town clerk, correct?
I believe so.
Yes. Okay, let me just read the resolution. Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board Resolution Number 114 of 2020. The restricted use of town property in response to COVID-19. Whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley offers the use of its properties to its residents, and whereas the outbreak of COVID-19, AKA the coronavirus, is fast spreading, and whereas in effect to potentially protect our residents and limit their exposure to COVID-19, the town board wants to limit people exposure as much as it can. Now therefore be it resolved that until further notice, the town hall is closed to all activity outside of official business of the town until January 2021, and be it further resolved, the town board authorizes the town clerk to advise the organization that use the hall that they no longer will be able to allow to meet at the town hall until further notice. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Second. Okay, discussion?
Yeah, just a little, do we have to go that long? I mean,
Well, so this is, I think, just to clarify, this is not for people coming to a town board meeting, or this is not for people coming in to pay, like, to pay a dog fine or to get a garbage ticket.
I know that.
This is just for, like, our senior group that's in here, until we can really, I mean, I think the concern is that we don't know what's gonna happen in the fall. And we use this, this room gets a lot of use from our senior program, and
Right.
I think the idea is their preservation.
Absolutely. My only question is, do we put I guess, a blanket across that far away? I mean, supposing something happens a month from now.
I know, we could just take it back, we could just rescind it. But, I mean, like, we did pass something very similar to this in March, when COVID first started, and we didn't put an end date to it, but I think that, because some things are opening, these organizations are looking to use the inside of the town hall again, but I don't know if, I mean, that's gotta violate some kind of regulation or restriction from somebody. So, because if you figure we have 2 court clerks, we have 2 secretaries in the building and zoning, plus the building inspector or the fire inspector, and then we have 2 in the bookkeeping office, we have, you know what I mean, like, we have more than enough people in the building already. I don't think we can add to it, and I think this just kind of remedies that.
Also, I think the last sentence kind of covers that. It says, "Until further notice," you know? So maybe if it does render itself to be used, I think we can always
Change it.
open it up, you know? Okay, no further discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Carried. Okay, number 6, no, I'm sorry, number 4. This is about the storage tanks.
Oh, okay.
And I just got this email today at, what time was it? 2:16 PM today from our town engineer. Basically, all it is, the storage tanks, the 2,000-gallon gasoline, or 4,000-gallon gasoline and 2,000-gallon diesel need to be redone to protect them from rusting out. This has been in, our town engineer is willing to, you know, I think he's got the specs for it. He's willing to, you know, draw the specs, do an RFP, get the bids, and then he's willing to do everything it needed to be to get this this project going. And I don't think we really need a resolution at this time. We need a resolution to approve the bids when they come in. But I think at this point, this has to be done, and I think we just need to give them the okay verbally. That's all. That's what it is.
Okay,
Yeah,
that's fine.
Yeah, I mean, if it needs to be done, one thing we really don't want to do is risk a major fuel leak on town
Yeah.
property, or anywhere else in the town for that matter.
right.
Well, we knew that this had to be done. We knew about it, and now we've got to do it. That's the
Yeah.
basic thing. So I think we just need to
Yeah,
authorize him by a verbal vote to have him do it.
To have them, send in our, just basically get prices?
Yeah, to get prices, and then when they get the prices in, then we can approve by resolution the authorization of doing it.
How about we have him just, put in some kind of writing what he's actually suggesting be done?
Here
I
it
have
is.
no idea what I'm talking about here. I mean, I don't know what,
The fuel tanks?
The fuel
up at
I
tanks
know
the
a fuel
right?
tank, so I know, but what is he actually gonna do? Is he gonna paint them? Is he gonna sandblast them? What's he gonna do? I don't know.
Like I said, I
It's in
just
that
got
letter.
this today.
that
Yeah,
Frank has.
Yeah, I kind of question that too, is he talking about, patching them up? Is he talking about just rust removal and painting, or is he talking about full replacement?
No, definitely
No,
not full
no,
replacement.
no full
If I'm
replacement.
not mistaken, so I believe how the conversation went was, Mike Cosenza, who's an employee of the town, he went up to Highway to inspect them for their annual fire inspection, and told us that they needed to be done. He asked for them to be done last year, I believe.
He did.
But we didn't get to them last year, so this year, they're due. So.
So it's like it's a refurbish,
It's a
basically.
refurbish. It's
Okay.
basically, again, like Frank said, to stop them from rusting from the outside in or the inside out. It's for lack of a better term, it's like a new paint job.
That's what brought this out, was Mike Cosenza going up there and inspecting them. And he said they had to be done, so we're just getting around to doing it. Now, I didn't have a lot of time, but the whole thing I'm saying, Greg is going to take care of everything. and then when we get the bids back, I can even have him, forward you guys the bids, the bid proposals, the RFP. I could have him email you, all you guys that, and you could look at it.
That'd be nice.
But, no, really, but basically all it is maybe sandblasting and painting them.
Yeah, I just,
It's definitely better to do that than to let it go and have to replace a tank.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Those tanks are not cheap.
No, they're not. They are not. So,
Okay, so do I hear a motion?
yeah, I guess I make a motion to have Greg Bolin from CPL advertise for the refurbishing of our above-ground storage tanks for fuel.
So
Second.
moved.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Carried. Okay, this is another new one here that came in today, late today.
Yeah, sorry.
Really?
This
That's
was
all right.
complete, so this was something I was working on. If you don't mind, I'll speak briefly to this. This is for the karate studio, traditional Okinawan karate in Pleasant Valley. As we all know, gyms and the like are not allowed to be open yet. And I, as a small business owner myself, we gotta try to help them. So basically, they are allowed to do non-contact karate outdoors in limited numbers with social distancing. So they had approached us and asked if they could utilize some portion of our park somewhere. So we came up with the idea of the pavilion at Katie Field for Tuesdays and Thursdays. And I've talked to them many times, and I'm sure that if we had some function where they couldn't be, we could always just move a day around. But they would, be either using a portion of Katie Field from Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 to 9 and Saturdays from 9 to noon, just so that they can get open again. I think it's, I know we all feel the same way, so.
We need to
Yeah,
help
we
anybody
do.
we can.
We do. So, you want me to read this?
Go ahead and read it.
All right, so, Town Board Resolution 118, 2020, allowing use of pavilion at Katie Field to traditional Okinawan karate. Whereas traditional Okinawan karate of Pleasant Valley is a local business still unable to operate indoors due to the pandemic. And whereas the business that has requested use of the pavilion at Katie Field for instruction of non-contact karate Tuesdays and Thursdays from 5 p.m. to 9 p.m. and Saturdays from 9 to noon. Now therefore be it resolved that the Town Board of the Town of Pleasant Valley hereby grants the request for such use conditioned upon the receipt of liability insurance, which I already have, naming the Town of Pleasant Valley as additional insured. I'll make a motion to approve that.
Second.
Second?
Yeah.
Do I-
Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Against? No. Carried.
Yep, carried. Yep.
Okay, now we get to my least favorite,
We're paying the bills?
paying the bills. Okay, abstract number 7 of 2020, whereas the Town of Pleasant Valley Town Board has audited the bills presented by the town clerk and an abstract has been compiled, now therefore be resolved, the Town Board hereby authorized the town supervisor to pay all claims as follows. Abstract number 7, 2020, general fund claims, $51,680.96. Abstract 7, 2020, highway fund claims, $42,004.18. Abstract 7 of 2020, ambulance, $10,415. Abstract number 7, 2020, street lights, $3,484.97.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried. And then we have to do the resolution for the abstract number 7P, the resolution number 116 of 2020, whereas the town board of the town, Pleasant Valley Town Board has audited the bills presented for consultant escrow fees specified by the town code 82-15, 98-91, and so forth by the town clerk, and an abstract has been compiled, and now therefore be it resolved that the town board hereby authorizes the town supervisor to pay all claims as follows. Abstract 7P of 2020, planning and zoning escrow, $894.
So moved.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed, carried. Okay, now we go to open the meeting to the,
Public, let me go back to those other questions.
open the meeting to the public?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to open the meeting to the public for non-agenda items for the questions previously submitted.
Second.
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, carried.
Okay, so the first question, let's go back here. Michael Reifenberg had asked, with town hall being closed due to the public for COVID-19, is it a lot more difficult for public to stay it's a lot more difficult for the public to stay engaged on what is happening within our town. I've noticed that there's no contact information for any of the elected town board members on the town website, and if there is, he can't find it. Only Supervisor Szynski's email is located on the website, and you have to click on his name in order to realize it directs you to his email. I believe it should be very simple to find each of your town emails so residents can communicate any ideas, questions, concerns, especially in a time where we most likely won't see you in person. Can we update the website with your emails located next to or below each of your names? And that's question number one. And question number two is, have you addressed, you might have addressed this already, but are FOIL requests being accepted and processed at this time? The second question is, yes, they are. The first question.
First question, I just typed up a list of all the new extensions to have put on the website today, and it's going to go on Facebook. And what I'll do, because we each have an extension now that people can leave messages on, so if people want the emails, I'll just do
And
that too.
And that as well, I would, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a simple fix. The next question was from Tess Sanders. Will we be answering questions not answered at last week's 7-1 meeting? And how will we be addressing our broadcasts for the hearing impaired in conjunction with the American with Disabilities Act? Also, how can she ask questions when this form came out before the agenda did?
The YouTube has a button that you can click to have
Right, there is a button on YouTube, but I guess the
the
main issue.
captions, like a movie that's in a different language or something.
Right, so the only issue, I think, is the transcription of that, because we're live, it doesn't add it doesn't add the words live, like somebody, like on the back end of YouTube will go in and type that in later. You know what I mean? So like, as we're live, no one, if you're hearing impaired, they can't hear us, they can't understand us. It has to, until the video actually is processed, does it add the language? I'm assuming her concern, just because I've read the concern and I
Right.
tried to figure out how to do it, but we don't have, like YouTube doesn't have that, so how do we address that?
Well, first of all, aren't we going to be able to open up the meetings for next month?
Well, that was my question.
And if it happens again, I think during this time, even though we're going to open up to people, I think what we do is look into this and see if there's something else that can be done for people.
That was going to be my question, was when do we start opening? I know the other municipalities have been starting to open.
They're starting to.
And maybe
Within the next
this is a
2 weeks.
moot point if we get back to normal.
Well, I think, so, but the problem, I do and I don't. I think the concern is, even if somebody comes here and like, say they're deaf, right? How would they communicate with us, or how would they hear us? How would they understand us? Is really, I think, the brass tacks question.
Well, let me, I know this is all new, I would never know how to do this, put up a camera and
Right.
do all this stuff. But have we checked to see if we are in compliance with any kind of broadcasting
So-
regulations that might require us to have somebody for the hearing?
I tried to look through so because of all of this, like all open meeting laws and all that, like I looked through all the executive orders from the governor, and there's no real finite, like there is an American with Disabilities Act, and there's language up and down, and that's something that I'm gonna send to Rich and have a bigger conversation about, and in the interim, like a lot of that stuff was suspended, so like, that's the hard part, is interpreting all of that. So I think the simple solution might almost be if we have either a college student or a high school student that's looking for extra credit at this point that could sign for us.
All right, so what was the question again? Or questions?
So the first part is, are we going to answer the questions that were asked at last week's meeting? The second part of the question is, how are we going to be addressing our broadcasts for the hearing impaired in conjunction with the ADA?
All right, so I think we kind of danced around the second one, kind of, where you're still looking or trying to find ground on that, right?
I don't know of a great solution, but a start would be to ask someone who's, we don't have it in the budget, I'm sure, to pay somebody to sign our meetings. I know it's not cheap.
And do we have a list of last week's stuff that was asked?
So last
You said we
week's-
have a log, right?
I have a whole log of it, and I can copy and paste it to you and email it to you. But last week's meeting was not, it was open to agenda items only. That's the issue with that. I'm not trying to skirt around anything.
No, but were there any agenda items asked?
I picked out the agenda items, but there was,
And we answered those
we
last
answered
week.
those, but there's probably about 30 other questions that people were asking. Or there was about 30 comments or so, none of them were questions, but.
All right. For posterity purposes, just email me the copy.
I will, okay, yeah, okay. I'll copy and paste the whole lot to you. And we are, to answer the third question of that, we're working on a more fluid way to get the agenda and the sign-up sheet for questions out there, but hopefully by next month, it'll be a moot point. Or it'll be a point where people come and go, because we're only allowed so many people in the building, so. The next question, we already addressed that one. No, that one, okay, the last question we got is from Greg Straley. I want to know what is being done about the planning board in regards to the talks with Peckham on the 31 acres. When Peckham never applied to get the 31 acres in their mining, all persons that are involved in the talks should be removed from the planning board and anyone else who holds a position in the town. These individuals had no right to be in talks with Peckham. Peckham never came to the town and talked about, and never talked to, or asked to get the 31 acres in the mining. This action needs to be taken right away. We, the residents, want answers on this. The people on these talks should not be representing the town of Pleasant Valley. Question 2. What is being done about the dust, noise, and stones in the road and startup time of Peckham and bonded? Question 3. I want my taxes cut in half because of the noise and the dust and listening to the quarry. There is no quality of life here. Why is the town letting Peckham walk over the residents without any repercussion? It is the zoning that is not supposed to be taking place. Why isn't Peckham being asked, or being assessed at $50 million? Their taxes would be around $1 million, not $95,000. We, the residents, are paying a higher percentage in taxes than Peckham. Why?
Okay, I can't answer the last one,
Okay,
but Peckham has not come to us
right.
with anything. So there have not been discussions, there have not been private discussions. That was let out by someone who should have never, ever, ever said anything. So the bottom line is Peckham has not put anything formally in writing to us in any way, shape, or form. So, and the reason bonded opened up so early that one morning, and I do agree that bonded should have put out some kind of a notice somehow to let the people they had to open up, but the county or somebody in the county or state needed them to open up, and they did it. I truly believe that when bonded or Peckham is going to open up that early, because I
Yep.
think it
Oh, yeah,
was
there should
like
be a
some
full list.
obnoxious time of like 3:30. So when that's being done, I honestly feel that somehow we're gonna have to either help them or they're gonna have to figure out a way to get this notice out to people to let them know that it's going to happen. Dust. I have to tell you, I drive by there all the time, okay? And I'm not making this up. I don't see anything in the road. So maybe once in a while when a truck comes out and something falls off, but they put those machines out there faster than a flash to clean up that road. So I'm having a problem with that. I'm not trying to be whatever. I'm honestly telling you that I go by there all the time purposely to make sure of what is going on. I went by there 3 times this weekend, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday.
I've also made a point of at least 3 days a week, I take the long way from my house to town just so that I will go by the quarry and I can inspect the road. And, you know, like Councilwoman Albrecht said, every once in a while, you are going to have a truck that's going to spill a little gravel on the road.
Right.
I've actually discussed it with the highway superintendent. He said that he's been checking and that Peckham has really been on top of sweeping it if there's a little spill. And I honestly, I've lost count of how many times I drove by the quarry and looked on purpose this year, but I have yet to see anything on the road.
No, me either.
And if I did, I would say something.
I'm just going to play devil's advocate. I remember hearing some of the, when the people were actually allowed to be in front of us. The good old days.
How many months ago?
The good old days. I remember when they were talking about dust, it wasn't necessarily on the road. I believe it was on their homes, on their cars, in their driveways, in their yards. And I can imagine there has to be an amount of that there is probably. I have a place that's on a main road that doesn't have trucks or anything, and we're constantly washing the windows. That's just regular road dust. So I think when they're referring to the dust, it's not necessarily on the road that's going in between. I'm sure the gravel's a pain in the neck, but the dust I think that they're referring to, I'm almost positive, correct me if I'm wrong, is that what's landing on their homes, their windows, their...
Yeah, the
that
biggest
kind
problem is it's a quarry. You know, it's going to have dust.
I get it.
It's been there forever and ever, and
But when I go by there, I come to work that way and I go home that way, and I have yet to see any debris or rocks or anything on the road, and all I can tell you is they wet that quarry down constantly to try to mitigate the dust. And as far as the assessment goes, I will check with our town assessor and see what kind of answer he can give me as to why their assessment is less than it should be, I guess. But there must be an answer for it because it's been going on like that for years. So I don't know, but I will get back to you with the assessor's comments, and that's all I can tell you.
That's all the questions we have. So,
Did we answer all of his? Because it seemed like there was more than that.
oh, there was
The assessment.
the last one was he wanted to, I think the one we missed, the question we missed was, he was looking for a cut in his property taxes because of this. But that's not something that I think that we don't have the power to do that.
No.
No, he has to come into grievance day.
Right.
And state his concerns and let the people do it, or he could file a certiorari action, I guess, if he wanted to. But that's all we can do. We as the town board cannot alter his taxes. So as far as that goes, that's done for today, right? I mean, we're all done, right?
Yep, so, motion to close the meeting to the public for,
So made.
second.
All in favor?
aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Carried.
Motion to adjourn,
So made.
or second, I'm,
Oh, okay.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.